Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bruno's MMA show. I am here today with two friends, Mathieu and Emmanuel, also known as Manu for short. And basically, here's the thing. I do not watch pro wrestling. I don't know what's going on there. I know Mike Tyson was in some pro wrestling thing recently. That was funny as hell. And Risa was there. Like a few actual fighters were there. And the other day, I had Mathieu over for an episode, and we discussed basically how Mike Tyson was in pro wrestling for a while in the 90s. And I was like, oh my God, another one. Because I have Manu is also a big fan of pro wrestling. And I was like, you know what? Let's just do an episode about this. I'm going to use my friend's knowledge to do an episode about the crossover, basically, between real fighters and pro wrestling. Yeah, I mean, let's go, guys. Have at it. I guess there's a whole list of people to mention, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot, but one that comes to mind is one that went really bad. It's one initiated by one of the storyliners called Vince Russo, and he's in the industry is like a kind of a clown because when he arrived in the WWE and with the creative team, he thought that wrestling should be like how can we uh, comment on appelle ça? It was a reality show like drama, like this, and he saw was some wrestlers telling, acting like bullies in the locker room, and said, oh, "I'm gonna kick if it was real, I'm gonna kick all your asses." So he talked to Vince McMahon and said, "Let's make a boxing tournament between the wrestlers."
Yeah.
Vince McMahon accepted, and this was called the Brawl for All. That was a mess because they initially make that tournament to put one wrestler, Dr. Death, against Stone Cold Steve Austin was the new champion, and we want to build him like a real tough SOB, like he was calling himself, and he was eliminated before by Bart Gunn in the semifinals. He got beaten and he was hurt, and his career was ended at this moment. So Vince McMahon, for retribution, he invited Butterbean to make it the final.
What?
Yeah, he invited Butterbean.
I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, Butterbean. Butterbean before the final, he talked to the wrestlers. He said, "Yeah, you're tough, but you don't know what you're doing. This is ridiculous. You're gonna get demolished." And that was the case. Bart Gunn got destroyed in 15 seconds in the match.
So, wait, I did not know about this. Mathieu, you obviously you're also a boxing fan. Like,
Yeah.
do
I
you have
knew
any?
I thought it was awful, but it was kind of fun to see the wrestlers. Bradshaw, Mark Miro. Do you remember Mark Miro?
Yeah,
This guy was a Golden Glove champion. This guy he's very very strong.
yeah,
Baron
but
Corbin was also right now in the WWE. He's a three-time Golden Glove champion in the United States. So he's very very tough. He's very legit. I
yeah,
remember
but
the tournament. It was in 1998, but I was still very young. But I saw the clips again when I was older. It was fun, but when you look at it, it doesn't have its place in professional wrestling because professional wrestling, you tell a story. You take people, you turn them into characters, and you tell a story to the audience, and you got to connect with the emotion. While boxing, there is an emotion, there's a huge emotion, but it's not the same as professional wrestling. So it has to be two distinctive sport, and I don't think it was a good idea to put them together at
yeah,
all.
and there was wrestlers that doesn't want to be there. Like there was a MMA legend Dan Severn in the
Yeah,
tournament. He invited him in the tournament, but he said, "Oh, I'm gonna look like a clown, so I'm not gonna participate." There was Steve Blackman too, but him too. Yeah, he put himself away because it was Because this guy is a little bit crazy. Because if he said, "Oh, you want me to break the shit out of you," I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it for real. He's like that. You don't want to push him because he's gonna do it for real. But
Yeah. And
that
Steve Blackman is a very tough guy also. So it made no sense to have this tournament, I find. But that's
Yeah.
Vince Russo for you.
That's the thing. It's kind of what kind of bugs me, I guess, and I'm gonna step in like my perspective, and I want to start by saying I respect a lot what people do in professional wrestling. It's not my sort of entertainment that I like, in the sense that I like to watch real fights too much to be able to watch pro wrestling, but I can appreciate what they go through the same way that Jackie Chan is not a champion kickboxer, but he made amazing movies. He's an amazing stuntman. He like everything he put his body through, and the same thing for wrestlers. Like I never underestimate the level of effort and injuries that they have to put up with. So I do respect it, even though it's not for me. I guess the problem I have with pro wrestling is more regarding some of its fan base. Because at one point, and also kind of how they handle it. For example, what I mean to say is that if you're watching a Jackie Chan movie, basically, because it's kind of like to me like they're stuntmen telling a story. So that's why I associated kind of like with Jackie Chan, even though the style is not the same. It's kind of like the same type of entertainment in my head. It's like this person doing stunts, telling stories, and basically what I think is that if I'm watching a Jackie Chan movie, it's kind of self-contained. It doesn't try to interact with what I mean to say is, even if they grab legit fighters to play characters in those movies, it's not like Jackie Chan the interacts with, like, for example, when he did movies with Benny the Jet Urquidez, like champion kickboxer, like Benny the Jet is playing a character. It's not like Jackie Chan is saying, "Oh, I can defeat Benny the Jet Urquidez" or something. And there were really good fight scenes. But then you have a situation like when Ronda Rousey went to pro wrestling, and they started going like, "Oh, see this? They don't do this in the UFC, do they?" And I thought that was a big mistake. Like, don't mix it up. Don't mix fantasy with reality in
yeah,
that
that
way.
Yeah.
It was like, what are you doing? Like people know it's fake. Like, you can't. Go ahead. Sorry, it's just.
they're trying to make the break the fourth wall and mix the real things with the storyline. So that's the problem. And yes, you said that the fan base is kind of squishy because
Oh,
well,
yeah.
in her last comment that she did a couple months ago, when I heard that, I wasn't angry at her because she's kind of part right about it. The fans can turn the fan base can turn on a wrestler on a dime and on a penny like this. If they see if the wrestler's doing well, it's going over and it's not going the way they want, they're gonna turn on the wrestler right away without noticing. That's why in the Survivor Series last year, I can understand why she saw is that's the event that she relates to. She was popular. She was a face wrestler, and all of a sudden that night she got beaten. She was facing Charlotte Flair, and she got disqualified. And Charlotte Flair went on a berserk. She ba- she fought, she ba- she kicked her ass with a candlestick, and the fans
But
cried.
this is a scenario though. Yeah, she didn't do it. That was the scenario.
But
She kicked her ass with a stick, and that's it. Ronda Rousey sucked.
Okay.
People got fed up.
Okay, okay. Here are many things. I have so many things to say, and then I'll let you all talk about wrestling and all that. But here's the thing. Like, people who follow this channel will know that I'm also like a huge comic book geek. So yes, I go to comic book stores when it's not a pandemic going on. And one time, I don't remember how it happened, but it's kind of funny how it's so weird the interaction that MMA and wrestling have, because people who don't know crap about fighting feel like because they're wrestling fans, pro wrestling fans, not legit wrestling, like the entertainment wrestling, they feel like entitled to give their opinions on stuff that they really shouldn't. It's so weird. And I was at the comic book store, and I don't remember. I was talking to the cashier, and it was, I think, about CM Punk, and about how it really didn't go well for him. And no, sorry, I brought it up, but it was because of Ronda Rousey, because she was kind of like breaking the fourth wall, threatening the other wrestlers, kind of going, "Oh, I could kick your butts in real life if I had to." And I'm like, "You're breaking the fourth wall. Either stick to a script or don't." And even as someone who doesn't like pro wrestling, I didn't like that she was breaking the fourth wall, because either you do that thing or you don't. You can't be like going in and out of character like that if your character is also your real name. You know what I mean? That's the difference with like Jet Li playing a character and then Jet Li the actor. But in wrestling, it's kind of like Ronda Rousey is Ronda Rousey in the script, so it's kind of like stick to your script. Don't threaten people like, oh, if this. And what happened was, this guy at the comic book store, I'm gonna just say it like this, like, who clearly didn't know about fighting. Just by looking at him, I could tell he didn't know about fighting. That he didn't move much, let's say. And he just started like defending pro wrestling when I kind of brought up how it's not the same thing. He was like, well, in wrestling they have moves that are illegal in MMA, and I'm like, but they don't do them for real. They're cooperating, And it was just this very, and I ended up being baffled. Like, I didn't argue with the guy at the end, because it was kind of like arguing with a wall. Like, how he didn't know anything, and yet he was arguing for his life. And that gave me and I don't know if that's fair, but that was kind of like my prototype pro wrestling fans, and like in my head, because of that guy. So, yeah, but there's a lot of crossover, because you have Brock Lesnar, who I don't like, and you have Ronda Rousey, who acted really weird going into pro wrestling, and I don't know what to make of it, because it's kind of like pro wrestling has this like real weird relationship between real life and fiction that is not clearly defined, like in an action movie where Keanu Reeves is not an assassin, but John Wick is cool, it's self-contained. But then Keanu Reeves doesn't have to pretend he's John Wick when he's doing interviews. Does that make any sense? I don't know.
Well, see, a lot of wrestlers back then, the old mentality, they lived their characters. You had Sergeant Slaughter for many years. I was a Captain General. You had Nikolai Volkov, who wasn't Russian, but he had a Russian passport in case he got stopped at the border to say, I'm a Russian guy. You had the Iron Sheik. You had all these wrestlers, but back then it was closed. We didn't have social media. We didn't have the internet. We barely had television. We had magazines. That was it. And the mentality was they would live their characters, and people would really get into it. When the Sergeant Slaughter, although professional wrestling is fake, it's storylines. When Sergeant Slaughter, during the Kuwait War in 1991, I think he became a bad guy. He turned his back on the fans and to protest the United States, and he got death threats in an interview that he said. He got death threats from fans thinking he was really joining the other side and against the United States. So back then it was very, very real, and people really get emotional about it. My God, it was a different time. It was a different time, and today it's different. Ronda Rousey, if she comes in and she says, "Well, I can kick your ass," well, you have no chin, so anybody can kick your ass. Just don't grab my arm. So she's good, but she's not that. She was never that good in wrestling. And here's the thing: you can be Ronda Rousey, you can be Brock Lesnar, but if in wrestling you need to connect with the audience and sell the story. If you suck, the fans will turn on you, and it's normal. It's like anybody else. Example in MMA, Ronda Rousey once was asked about the equal pay in MMA and with women and men, and she said to the interviewer, she said, "The day that somebody is able to generate as much money as me, they can ask the pay raise that I get. I generate money, I get the money that I earn." So it's the same thing for professional wrestling. They invest in you a lot of money to build you, and if you don't sell and the people, they don't feel you, it's done. It's a business. That's how it is.
Manu, I think you had something you wanted to interject there.
Yeah, for Ronda Rousey, she's kind of talented. I can tell that she was learning fast, like Kurt Angle, because Kurt Angle was a wrestler from NCAA before he won the gold medal in 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta with a broken neck, and he went
freaking neck.
Yeah, yeah, and when he enters in the WWE, was not he knew nothing about wrestling. But this guy in
he knew nothing about entertainment wrestling.
yeah, entertainment wrestling. But he learned on the spot. Every match he was getting better, and he became one of.
He became the best.
That
it was a natural
wrestling. Yeah. For people, he's in Mount Rushmore wrestling, but for that guy learning so fast. It was incredible, and Ronda kind of did the same thing, but she didn't have the personality to play the character. That I can agree
came
with
in with the wrong attitude.
Yeah, she
the wrong attitude also.
Yeah, she brought the same attitude in that she brought from MMA to the wrestling world, and that play against her.
Yeah.
And now she's complaining, and now she's burning bridges because she's complaining, oh, this is so hard, fuck these fans and everything and all that shit.
That's why she'll never make it, because she didn't want to. Wrestling, it's a lot of work and dedication. The Rock did not become The Rock by just showing up and be The Rock. Stone Cold didn't become Stone Cold by just showing up and get everything. You work, you're different from the other people. And Ronda Rousey came with that superstar name, but she thought she was a superstar in a world that is not hers. She was amazing, but she had too much of an ego. An ego can destroy you. That's why The Undertaker has been there for 30 years, even more than that, because he doesn't have that ego. He respects the business so much. Ronda Rousey did not. So, too bad.
Yeah.
You could argue that Ronda Rousey has a habit of. I don't know if this is unfair of me to point out. Maybe there's aspects of it that I don't know. And obviously she accomplished a lot in her life that I'm never going to take that away. But objectively, she does have a tendency to abandon ship when the waves start hitting. Like in MMA, she lost one time, and then she went away for a while, came back, lost again, and never came back. She was facing, arguably, she wasn't facing the women who could have given her, before Holly Holm, before Amanda Nunes, who Amanda Nunes is the real greatest of all time when it comes to female fighters, in my opinion. But it's just like as soon as she hit like this bump, she was off the ship. And I'm not sure. She
can't handle the pressure.
Yeah, and
Ronda Rousey cannot handle the pressure.
Yeah, and then it was like pro wrestling. It was difficult, and again, like I don't know which of the two of you said it, but she burned bridges. It's not like she couldn't even just say like, "Oh, I need a break for my family." It's just some like polite thing to say when you need a break, or no, she had to like burn that bridge, which is so weird. Like it's very self-destructive, it seems.
Yeah, because she was overprotected. She was overprotected for a long time in the judo career. Her mother's overprotect her. In the MMA, she got everything that she wanted. Now that she got up, like you said, she got a pump. She found it difficult. She didn't know how to handle it. In the wrestling world, she did the same thing. It didn't go into her way, so. Oh, this is all their fault. This is not. She doesn't look inside herself, introspect herself, and do what did I do wrong and what can I do for move forward and do better. She didn't do this.
And guys, let's talk about this one because I want to address it. I'm not very informed. Again, I don't follow pro wrestling, but I'm just gonna say his name and then I'll let you two go about it. Cain Velasquez.
He was in the development department, the performance center. I don't know what could have happened. Maybe he was getting well, but he was released because he was too much money for the company for the pandemic period. So he was one to get cut. So. We don't know. We'll never know what would have happened with him. He was supposed to face Brock Lesnar, have his feud with him, but We didn't know. He didn't got prepared.
About that, wait, okay, let's see. So in real life, Cain beat Lesnar.
Yeah.
And then, did they have a pro wrestling match, the two of them?
Yeah,
Yes.
they got one at Saudi Arabia, and Cain got hurt, and that's it. Brock won, but
But in the scenario, did Brock win?
yeah.
Okay, so here's my conspiracy theory, because Vince McMahon and Dana White, they all like Brock Lesnar is like their dear golden boy or something. And I want to be very clear. I hate Brock Lesnar. I hate him, and I don't mind going over the reasons in a moment. But it almost seems to me like, Cain Velasquez, like after that and Ngannou
Okay,
fight.
well, goodbye. I'm out. Bye-bye.
No, you can argue with me. It's always fun when we argue, and so far we haven't argued on camera, so that will be interesting. But but here's the thing. Like I have this conspiracy theory almost where like Cain Velasquez, like, man, I got hit by Ngannou. That was hard. I have plenty of injuries. I just want to get paid. And he goes to, because Dana White doesn't pay his fighters, and then he goes to wrestling, and I almost feel part of me has this like scenario where like Vince McMahon was like, hey Brock, you know how Cain beat you in real life as a real fighter? Hey, want him to come over to pro wrestling? We'll make you win, and then we'll kick him out. How about that? That way you can have your revenge. And Brock's like, yeah, like that's my.
To happen like this, because Cain Velasquez was the financial reason for his release. It was only financially. I think he would have stayed if it wasn't for the pandemic or something. And
They might come back, but right now they have to cut. They have no choice.
Yeah. I am making fun a little bit. Okay, Mathieu, so you're a Brock Lesnar fan then, are you?
Me too.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question. Okay. I might be wrong. I need to know this, okay? Because I'm someone who respects everyone in life who does nothing wrong. And didn't Brock Lesnar go on a really awful rant about certain? I don't want to say too much because maybe I'm wrong, but didn't he go and say very horrible things about certain people?
Yeah, but wait, I love Brock Lesnar before he went to MMA. And I think Mathieu could agree with me. In wrestling, when he arrived, he was a beast. I saw him live when he came in his first show, and I was okay. And it was amazing. He was athletic. A 280-pound guy making a shooting star press is impressive.
Okay, and he's working like what, once per year or something?
Yeah, this is the after MMA.
Okay, so he became intolerant towards gay people after MMA then.
No, he's a dick. Okay, we can all say that he's a dick. But before he went to he quit for the football and MMA. He was the next big thing. He was
the top guy in wrestling. Yeah.
He was the best. It's just that he went to MMA. His head
got bigger than his chest.
What else pissed me off? What else pissed me off about that guy? There's footage of him actually beating up other wrestlers because they kind of like accidentally hit him on the face or something. He's like legit beating them up until they're bleeding. And again, that's like, dude, you're doing stunts if you can't like take a little mistake, like, and that is not okay. That is not okay. Like in a real, if you go to an MMA fight, fine, like beat each other up. If you're doing a collaboration and a little accident happens, you do not get to beat up the other guy.
Yeah, it's too bad. Emmanuel is gonna know. Emmanuel, it's too bad that Mr. Perfect is not alive anymore.
Oh yeah, it would have been a goddamn.
He beat his ass in the plane. There's no footage, but he beat Brock Lesnar's ass in the plane, and he was an old guy.
Wait, tell the story, because who was Mr. Perfect? I don't even know.
Mr. Perfect was a legend in the business, and in 2003, there was an episode called "The Plane Ride from Hell," and a lot of stuff happened in that plane, but that was before the cameras and everything. And the story is Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, who's dead now, beat up Brock Lesnar like this, very, very easy, because Brock Lesnar wanted to be the bigger guy. And um, I think Chris Jericho also beat up Brock Lesnar at some point backstage. If I'm correct, or it was Goldberg, but I think he did something with the. It's got Brock plays a tough guy, but before he left for the UFC, I think that they had offered him a $45 million contract for 10 years, and he refused because it was too painful professional wrestling, be on the road and everything. And he was a big guy. He was, as Manuel said, the next big thing in wrestling, and he was just phenomenal from A to Z. He was big. He was charismatic to an extent. He had Paul Heyman, which is the right ingredient next to him, and together they were match made in head because you could sell the guy, and that's the thing about wrestling. You sell a character, and Brock was amazing with Paul Heyman.
Yeah, he
So
was. After he came back from the UFC, his attitude changed. He's not motivated. He's motivated when he wants, but this is one time in 5 years, so that happens, and he takes his part time, and now the Universal Championship was called from for a while the Brock's belt because he lost the belt at WrestleMania, went 3 months, come back for SummerSlam, win it back, and have it for the rest of the year.
I think let me know if I'm wrong. He lost it. So this is where fiction coincides with real life and all of that stuff. I think he lost it in the scenario of pro wrestling because in real life there was talk about him facing Daniel Cormier, and it was that at that time. And then what happened was people saw his physique change because he had to stop the steroids for USADA. Because I had an episode with Mark Hunt and he was talking about how basically Brock just knew that even though they cut him with the steroids, he was only doing that fight, then he was stopping. So his pattern of just showing up once a year or something, he was like, yeah, sure, we set a suspension, whatever. He's not going to be. He knew he wasn't going to be fighting after. He didn't want to do it without steroids. So now he had to face Cormier, and what I think happened was people saw his physique change without the steroids, and I think he backed away when he noticed, oh, I don't feel the same without this. So I think in pro wrestling they made him lose the belt to clear the way for him to go fight DC.
No, it was just to get because his contract was up. He wants to get more money. He did what he had to do, but he didn't use steroids. I think in the UFC you can't get caught like he did last time. He's suspended.
He did use steroids, and Mark Hunt sued the UFC about it. And
yeah,
what he did, he knew he was leaving. He wasn't going to continue, so he didn't care if he got caught. Because the fight would already have happened, he would already get his pay. And then, I just want Brock Lesnar to stay the hell away from MMA because then he put the heavyweight division on hold forever with that bull crap. And he ended up not even doing it. He just keeps this whole division waiting and then he doesn't do it. The guy's intolerant against gay people, which I don't approve of. He beats up his coworkers for little mistakes. Like, dude, yeah, okay, he hits you in the face a little bit. Are you supposed to be a tough guy or not? And then it's just everything about the guy is there's things. I don't need people to be perfect in life, but there's at some point you have to just look at someone that guy's a piece of crap. Sometimes you have to call it. And I don't know. I just wanted to say he can stay in pro wrestling if he wants. People like him there. I do not want him in MMA. Or if he does, I just hope it's kind of like he didn't want to face DC. He didn't want to face Cormier, which is a shame because I would have liked to see that happen. I would have liked to see Cormier throw him around a little bit.
But we have to. I talked to you sometime, but Brock Lesnar is an NCAA champion too. He's an he's an NCAA. His wrestling could be good.
He's a legit fighter. Okay, here's the thing: Brock Lesnar, whether I like it or not, is a legit fighter. However, there's rumors about that guy sparring and telling people not to hit him in the face. That sort of guy, without steroids, is not the guy who beats Cormier.
No, I know, but if you think that DC is gonna wrestle him like he wants, that we can agree that he won't because he was a NCAA two times the NCAA champion. So
okay, because they said throw him around. Fine, DC would have boxed him how he wanted, whatever.
Anyways, but what you said about his he lost to get his combat. He do it every year. Each and every time, each year since he came back from UFC. After WrestleMania, he go to his Saskatchewan for 3 months, and after that he do nothing and repair at a month before SummerSlam and everything. This is what get people pissed off at him because he's a part-time that he disappears whenever he wants and
and I think certainly no matter how you look at it, like if you're gonna be part of pro wrestling, and I think like you guys brought up the Undertaker, like I don't follow pro wrestling. I respect the hell out of the Undertaker, I love Ric Flair. Like I love Ric Flair. So I can certainly understand these bigger in life characters that are kind of like part fantasy, part reality. Somewhere in the middle, you have the real person. Like it's kind of like it's certainly, even though it's not for me, I get it. But at the same time, for the same reasons, I can sort of look at Ronda Rousey and like, what is she doing blurring the line here? Either get on board or not with a scenario. You don't. Like you cannot do a scenario where this girl is your match in the story and then call out on Twitter or whatever that you could actually beat her up easily in real life. Because then you're kind of like putting a spotlight on the
industry.
Like you're breaking the fourth wall. So if you're supposed to mix, if pro wrestling, if the attraction of it is how it mixes real life with fiction, you should not be an employee who harms it. Like fans might discuss the real life implications, but you shouldn't be like an employee. And then if you have someone like coming in and out just when he feels like it and just disrupting everything in pro wrestling and MMA, like Brock Lesnar. And like one thing that I really noticed about that guy, like there's the season of The Ultimate Fighter, the one where Tony Ferguson won. And there was this fighter, Ramsey Nijem, I think his name was, and he would paint his toenails just for fun. He would paint his toenails. And when Brock Lesnar saw it, he was all like worked up, all like, oh. And he was telling the fighter went up against him, you cannot lose against this guy. It really bothered him to his core. Just the guy just painted his toenails. That's it. Like it was just like, what's your problem? Who cares? I don't know. Just.
But
in that season, by the way, in that season, he didn't even he coached the guys at the beginning and he left in the middle of the season or something. At the end of the season, he wasn't even coaching the guys anymore. He gave no explanation, just left. And then White was like, well, Brock told me he might leave, so I guess that's it. And I was like, I have no respect for this guy. I don't know.
Yeah. He's a dick.
See, Mathieu, I thought you'd argue me a bit more. You ended up agreeing again. This is no fun.
He's a dick. I like him, but he's a dick.
No, we can agree that he's a bad person, but technically in the ring he's amazing. But
that's the thing. That's the thing about wrestling. Who cares if he's a dick? Us, we're gonna pay to watch him do what he does. His personal life is not our business. We just want to see him do what he does best. And that's it.
Okay, I agree. Here's the thing. I agree that people's personal lives are not our business as fans in general. However, here's the thing. When someone uses a platform to attack people, then it kind of becomes everyone's business, I think. Or listen, even if it's not business, I get to give my opinion on the guy for sure. That's my opinion, no? And there's things where I can sort of understand, like, for example, like, when I look at Manny Pacquiao, when he said what he said, like, that was horrible. But I can also understand, like, a different context from where he came from in life. When someone from a different context says something like that, and you're like, there's no reason for you to have this mentality. Like, what I mean is, like, you have to consider, like, where someone grew up, what the mentality around him was when he grew up, what's the overwhelming cultural opinion of something. Like, of course, I understand these things, and I'm not gonna judge the entirety of someone for their flaws. But at the same time, like, I think like there's places in the world where you get to be a bit more educated on other people, basically, and like their value, like how everyone is worth something, equally. And it just pisses me off when I see someone use a platform to say stuff like that. And then when I see him beat up his coworker, like, it's the same way. Like, listen, can you imagine, like, if a movie star during a stunt something goes wrong and the movie star starts beating up an extra? That wouldn't be cool. So why is it cool with him? You know, like it. Anyway.
Are you just for asking are you asking the guy when he beat the guy with his elbow and the guy bled and they stopped the match? Is that the footage that you saw?
I think there were two moments, right?
Yeah, there's one. There's one with Randy Orton that was
And
kind
the
of
guy's like, and
yeah,
you can tell it's not a scenario anymore. Like like you can tell the guy's legit being beat up. He doesn't want to fight back. He's just like this. And Brock Lesnar had this like sadistic smile.
No,
on his
that
face.
was a scenario. That was a scenario.
that
It
was
was?
yeah.
That was a scenario.
Oh my god! I thought it was real. So the guy was.
See, you believed it. You believed it. That's wrestling.
Oh, wait, was it? Was it real? And then they
You
said
believed it. You know, you believed it. You see, that's the beautiful thing. It's made to make you believe, and you fell for it.
Hey, wait.
Good.
There's a moment real though, wasn't there?
You know, and of the conversation, you believed it.
There's a moment where he did it for real, isn't there?
No, but it was part of the scenario, and they made a man of themselves. They
How
gave
do you
it
think-
the next year after that.
How do you think he afforded that jet plane?
Okay,
You know,
wait.
Money talks.
A moment where he actually beat up a coworker though.
And after that, he got the second footage is the one that he punched he take off his glove and he hit another man. Is that the one?
Listen, here's the thing. I'm not really into pro wrestling, so I might be mixing up memories here. And if I'm completely wrong, correct me. But isn't there a moment when he legit attacked someone for a mistake in the ring?
Yeah, there's
that I
Braun
know.
Strowman because Strowman hit him with a knee by mistake, and this his reaction, he take off his glove and he hit him he hit him in the chin. For it was kind of real, yeah, but I think it was part of the selling of the thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
look, if I'm wrong about this, I'm wrong about this. I'm not wrong about the other stuff though, so whatever.
Like, he's a homophobic dick, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so listen, I've made enough of the episode about this. Let's see, let's go with some closing thoughts from both of you. So, Manu, do you have any closing thoughts on kind of like crossover between like anyone you want to mention the business either? Like, is anyone a big fan of CM Punk in MMA, for example, or any closing thoughts?
Yeah, but CM Punk, he got talent, but I don't think he got prepared enough and had the.
Wait. Okay, here's the thing. I don't disrespect the guy. I do not, because he just tried it, didn't work out. It's fine. The mistake was doing that in the UFC. It should have been kind of like I don't know. He should have done a documentary where he goes into amateur MMA. He should. But however, I'll say before he went into the octagon, was he trained for like full time for a year or something? Like he signed and then it took forever.
Doesn't mean anything. You can train a full-time year full in baseball or basketball. Doesn't mean you're going to make it to the NBA. In MMA, you have it or you don't. In wrestling, you have it or you don't. That's it.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Like you can't just go for. He should have done amateur MMA. It should have been like.
You should have done it. Brock Lesnar was different because Brock Lesnar is Brock Lesnar. It's completely different. The guy had a background in NCAA. The guy had an MMA fight against Vince Kim. She won. So it was a big gamble from to come in, and it worked. But he's one out of a million, Brock Lesnar. You can't compare to him. That's a different thing. He's a different kind of specimen, and his numbers showed in the UFC and in the WWE. CM Punk should have went to the minor leagues first. He had a name. It worked because they sold a lot of pay-per-views, but it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing at all.
Wait. That reminds me, because now I was thinking CM Punk. I guess I was saying closing thoughts, but I do have something else to bring up now. Before we close this, because I was thinking in Bellator they would have maybe fed him easier guys. Wasn't there like a wrestler who went to Bellator recently and they were was shorter, like chubby guys to fight, and it was ridiculous. Hager? No, what's his name?
No, Bobby
Jake
Lashley.
Hager.
Yeah,
No,
Jake
Jake Hager.
Swagger and Hager in real life.
Swagger,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
He's good, though.
Bobby
He's an
Lashley.
All-American. He's very good. He's very good.
I don't know if he's good. They gave him people who were like this tall compared to him, and really out of
Yeah, but very tall. No, he's very good. He's very good. But you never have the best when you begin. Number one, unless you're Brock Lesnar. Bobby Lashley also faced a lot of guys. Not the best, but he faced a few guys also. So yeah,
He got 11-1, I think in MMA in Bellator. So
yeah.
I think he's 18-2, Bobby Lashley. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I kind of wish that when they announced those fights, like they grabbed this guy from the amateur MMA circuit, bring him to pro for the first time. He's clearly out of shape. He's older, and they put him in the same weight division technically as James Hager. And I just wish that some like world-class coach would be like, hey, you, the guy they chose to like be fed to the wolves. Come, we'll train you for whatever time we can to get you ready, just for an upset. I kind of wish, because when I see something like that, it's kind of like, come on, what's the purpose of this? Like, what? It was so funny. Like, Hager just showed up and he had like a rapper behind him. I don't remember which one. Like trying to build all the hype, and he's fighting this guy who they're not in the same like physical range. You know what I mean? It was just like, what is this? And I'm a fan of Bellator. I like Bellator for a lot of reasons. I like that there's competition to the UFC to balance things out. But sometimes Bellator, they do these matches. They're like, what is this? And but James Hager, I remember they were feeding him like just people who were completely out of shape, who were technically in his weight class, but not really. It was just weird. It was just a weird thing where like it seems like pro wrestlers when they go into MMA, they really want to accommodate them. It's just, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, guys. Okay. Basically, any closing thoughts?
No, but I think, like Bruno, like Mathieu said, if you have it, you have it or you don't. So, but if you don't try, you'll never know. So,
yeah, exactly. There's a lot of wrestlers who tried, they failed or they succeeded. Batista went in, but he didn't take the money that they gave him. He gave it to the hospital, the media. His fight, it was a fluke, but he still did his thing. Jake Hager doing his thing. Brock Lesnar did his thing. Del Rio did his thing and failed. Did his thing, So it's Ken Shamrock was the best. But just let's see after the pandemic who decides to jump ship from, because not a lot of people want to leave UFC, go to the WWE or Bellator or ONE. A lot of people from wrestling want to try MMA. Let's see after the pandemic what happens.
Okay, I have a question for you guys, because lately I've been kind of like really, I jumped deep into, I say closing thoughts and then I guess something else comes up, but real quick, I've been jumping deep into fighter pay. It's kind of being like the thing that's really been bugging me lately, and I'm just wondering, like, the pay in wrestling. Do you think MMA fighters should just think, okay, if I'm gonna be messing up my body, am I better up in pro wrestling? Like, do you think it would be a good jump for them, or is it just something that's kind of, it depends who you are, or overall?
It depends, because Ronda Rousey didn't accept the fact that she would have to travel for 235 days a year, and she didn't handle this. If you are full time, you travel a lot. You're at home 1 or 2 days at least for a week, and after that you have to deal with the injuries, and after that you're independent contractors, because
that's injuries and independent contractors. Those two go hand in hand.
But they don't have any insurance or that. This is kind of squishy for that. They have to pay for all their medical fees and everything. So
not easy. Not easy.
Same shit.
Yeah, this is not easy. if it will not be easier. If you have to be ready to face those challenges.
You know what? I'm just so happy. Like right now, I have to say, I think maybe if Fire should just go into movies, like Ngannou is supposed to be in the next Fast and Furious or something. I'm really happy about that. I think that's a good thing. Like
It's been this thing too, and
yeah. I think fighters who are successful should just try to get into movies. That's basically pro wrestling is not really, I guess. Yeah.
Wrestling is a passion. If you love it and you want to do it, you have to work hard. So, some will succeed, some will fail.
Yeah.
But if you want to live with it, you have to be up to be ready for the challenges. This
Correct, yeah.
because in the independent world, and this is a lot harder because they got well paid in AEW, WWE, but all the other ones are somewhat independent and they are less paid. But some people like in Quebec. The IWS, this is one of the most popular in Quebec, and I don't think this is great pay, but the wrestler are there each and every month doing their shows, and they travel a lot between the other federation on the province. So
it's a passion. You fake it until you make it. One day you make it, you hope to get noticed, and you'll make your money.
Yeah, Kevin Owens is at the WWE. He told that the first time he make shows, he was in front of 10 people, counting his family in the place. So he did it, and now he's one of the biggest companies of the world. So
I guess you certainly don't go into wrestling for job security, I imagine.
No.
Yeah. No, you don't.
Okay, I guess these are good closing thoughts. Thank you very much for your time, and I like to jab at you too because we all like our things, and then as friends in real life, it's just so easy to poke, So, but thank you very much for your time. This was fun, and I really, it's kind of one of those things where when you're not a fan of something, but there's like this kind of like at least a small connection to this thing you're a fan of, you always kind of see it in the periphery, it's always kind of like on the side, and you're like, what's going on over there, And you two are kind of like my windows to that world. So thank you very much for coming, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us in your show.
It was a lot of fun, and well, everyone watching, thanks a lot. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.